for y'all, of course.
Keep it
Appreciate it. We're super, super excited to have you. Thank you so very much.
First off, let me just say, DJ Tracy with the background dancers.
Wow.
He's doing it.
We was over here like, okay, background. They were synchronized and everything. You better, guys.
It's amazing.
I feel real basic in the house now that I see. I feel real basic, real basic. So talk to me, you two. What has it been like being quarantined right now?
Oh man, I mean, it's been kind of crazy, but actually we've been just trying to keep a schedule and working like normal and still trying to, you know, keep the love fresh and hot and popping and stuff like that.
Yeah, you know, we've got a little bit of experience about dating in kind of weird scenarios.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of trying to find ways to make it fresh and that. So it's been fun. We've been staying super busy, making some YouTube videos, TikToks, you know, just having fun with each other.
So are you keeping it fresh and spicy? I mean, that you can tell us. And we want to hear all of it.
Well, girl,
all of it.
Yeah, but definitely, I think that it's important for us to kind of take our me time too, to have that time apart, so that when we do come together, that it's still like exciting and fresh. And yeah, would you agree, baby?
I would. You know, I think one of the important things is to have some time where you turn the phone off or set it to the side, because I think we take for granted how much it really sucks up our energy and attention.
No, especially now with everything that's going on, it's like we're all so glued to our phones, and it's like it's so important to just put it down sometimes and just be present with your partner or yourself even, you know what I'm saying? So we definitely try to practice that as well.
So how do you go about doing that? Do you say, look, you go to the kitchen, you go upstairs? Like, how does that work?
Girl, yeah. So like we have our offices here, so we'll go on the office, his office or mine, and he'll close his door, I'll close mine, and that's kind of like a signal, like, okay, it's me time.
Right.
So, you know, give me some space today or for an hour or so, and then, you know, we come back together.
Right. And it makes things a lot more fun once you come back together.
Yeah, because especially in this climate, when you're just together all the time, you know, that could be a lot for anybody, even a friendship, let alone like a romantic relationship. So we definitely try to, you know, take that time.
No, I'm quarantined right now at my father's house in New Orleans, and one of us is gonna have to go in a minute. So
okay.
One of us is about
like daddy is you and me.
One of us is about to get put outside. Okay? You know, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put that out there.
Yes,
Sorry,
I get it.
Is there anything that the two of you have learned about yourself as a couple during this time, like having really restricted movement, or about yourselves?
Oh, that's a good question. About Cam, what have I learned? I would just say I mean, he's pretty consistent because we both kind of work from home. So we're kind of used to being around each other. Of course, not in this long circumstance like this. But Cam has just been super patient, and that's kind of consistent with how he's been. He's given me my space, so that's good. What have I learned about myself? That I really value my me time. That's what I've learned.
I think that it's kind of one of those scenarios where it forces you to, you know, you have to either grow or die in a weird way. So we kind of had to make things better by just evolving fast to accommodate for just being with each other 24/7.
Absolutely.
No, you definitely had to evolve fast, and the entire world is definitely, I don't want to use the word obsessed, but you get where I'm going with this, with y'all's relationship, right? But before we met you on Love is Blind, take me back to 2018. What were your dating lives like before all of this?
Oh, girl. Well, my dating life was terrible. Let me just throw that out there. Which a lot of people can relate, I'm sure, that's watching, okay? Because it's hard out here. Well, I'm not in that anymore, but you know, it is hard.
It was hard.
Right. Especially a woman who's trying to date right now, just because you have social media, you have you know, the dating apps, everything. So I feel like people's attention span is so short. And even just with me, like I had so many failed romances that I was really at the point where I had almost like given up on love. You know what I'm saying? Like fairy tales, like that's a lie. Like I don't believe it.
It is easy to get jaded, and you know, you're using the app. You get into this rhythm where you see a picture, you like it, you hit yes on it, or most of them are no's, and then you go out on the date, and that person just really isn't a good match for you, even though there was kind of like a physical click. And that was the case for me. I was going on people who I liked physically, but then we went out on the date and it just, that wasn't there. The chemistry, the compatibility in terms of like, could we have a long-term relationship? So
yeah, I feel like it's so hard to make a real connection with people nowadays. So that's really one of the reasons that kind of drew me to Love is Blind, because it was based on like building real relationships with people outside of just appearances. Like we have to have real conversations with each other, which I feel like people don't really do that nowadays, unfortunately. So yeah,
it seems like apps have been a great thing in the fact that they give you access, but at the same time that access is also like a negative, you know, where you're
like, it's a weird paradox of choice type of thing where you have so many choices, so you just kind of take them all for granted type of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And you mentioned communication, which is like my great segue. Thank you for helping me through this interview.
No problem.
Your first year of marriage, you come together, and of course, like everybody has all their eyeballs on your relationship, but you're together now, no cameras, and it's time to have certain conversations. Who brought up finances first, and what was that conversation like?
Ooh, who did bring it up first?
Well, you know, we did talk about it even during the filming.
Yeah, they cut that part out.
Yeah, there was a lot of important conversations. Yeah.
But it's something that you have to talk about, like, no matter how uncomfortable it is. Because if you're marrying somebody, it's like you need to know what's going on. So I'm not sure who brought it up first.
I'm not sure who brought it up first either, but
it was definitely discussed. And, you know, we talked about what our plans were. Did we want to have a joint bank account? Did we want to have separate? How do we plan on paying our bills? Do you have any major debt? All that stuff, because it's important. You're marrying someone, it's kind of like you're linking lives. So those are important things to share with your partner, no matter how uncomfortable it is.
Absolutely. Now that we're working together every day, it's even more important than ever before to talk about that, because we kind of work in the same industry, same space, on the same project. So, you know, there's updated conversations that have to be had for that too.
Did you find that you organically had the same approach to finances, or were there some things where you had to learn to compromise?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say that I guess we never even thought about that.
Well, but these are things that are
working out stuff here in the interview.
Right. I would say that we both understand the value of money, and how to spend it. So I think that we're both kind of on the same page with that. Like, we don't want to have any like hasty purchases. We understand like the order of the house, the bills, and then after that, then maybe you go into the toys and all the other stuff like that. So, but
we're pretty frugal.
Yeah, I think we have the same spending habits overall. Yeah.
We naturally kind of have similar spending habits, but you know, we're kind of building a business together. So now is the time where we're having to figure out, like, should we have a joint account such that we can kind of build that business together.
Lauren, during the show, Cameron mentioned several times that he would take care of you. That was a threat, right? But at the same time, when you're an independent woman, sometimes that can be a little daunting. It's like, how did that sound to you? Was it off-putting? Did it make you nervous? Did it make you feel like you were giving up control, or was it comforting?
You know what? To me, I guess it was a bit comforting, because honestly, I had never had a man so adamant that he wants to take care of me. So I guess for me, it was just like, wow, this is good. It made me feel a sense of, I guess, comfort and security, which is great. It didn't really frighten me so much, although throughout the whole process, I really stressed to Cameron how important my independence was, because, you know, I'm in my 30s at this point. I have my own business. I'm pretty successful. I have my own place. So it was really important to me that I didn't lose myself in our marriage. And I really explained that to him, like, constantly. Like, that was actually one of my fears and phobias of us getting married. Like, I love you so much and I want to move forward, but I just don't want to lose myself and who I am and my identity. Although I understand that when you get married, you kind of have to join lives, but I wanted to keep who I am as a person. So yeah, and Cameron was very understanding of that. And
the thing I emphasized the most was you know, I don't want to change you. I don't want to take away from your life. I only want to add to you. And I recognize from the jump that she is a very independent person, as I am as well. And we kind of march to our own beat of our own drum, as it were. So I recognize that in her immediately. And, you know, I wanted to be her partner, wanted to take care of her, wanted to add to her life. And, you know, I think since we have a very similar personality in that respect, that we're both very independent people, we have that like introverted side of ourselves as well. It works really well for us, you know, given that we kind of manage it in the right way.
Why was it, Cameron, important for you to make sure that she understood that that you were there for her in that capacity, saying that I will take care of you and be there for you? Why was that so important?
It was important to me because I wanted her to know how serious I was about this relationship. You know, because especially in this type of a scenario, there's always that concern, I think, whether it's said or not, implicitly, that, you know, this is a reality show. People sometimes go on here for all kinds of other reasons.
Right.
But that wasn't the case for me. I went on to the show originally thinking it would be a fun adventure. And then when I met Lauren, you know, I had to rethink the whole entire scenario I was in.
Same here.
I was like, both of you think that, where you're like, okay, I'm open, but did either of you really think I'm going to find my husband and my wife?
No.
I mean, the concept is so crazy. So it's like, I'm open to it. This sounds fun. I'm going to go and see what happens. And, you know, hopefully the worst thing that can happen is that I fall in love and marry somebody. As in, like, I wasn't expecting it. And so here we are. You know, so.
Yeah. And there was a moment on the show, you know, it didn't get shown, but we had that a date where basically the possibility of getting engaged got brought up between us. And we both kind of said that we, you know, expressed how serious we were about it. And then after that date, I think we respectively on our both sides of the wall had this moment where we're like, holy shit.
Like, oh my God, what? This is real. Like, are we really? Like, girl, during the process, I couldn't believe, like, I am really falling in love with someone through a wall. And to me, it was so mind blowing. Just like everybody else that watches the show, it's like, this is crazy. These people are really like that. I was thinking the same thing, but at the same time, I was in it. I was so present and I was vulnerable and it was real. And I didn't want to run from that or deny myself of that happiness. So thank God that I followed that. And now me and Cameron have been married, you know, over 1.5 years now.
Right.
Yeah.
With so many people